You are now tuned in to Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, where your host, Annette Harris, analyze intriguing life questions and concerns such as, do Christians suffer from mental illness? Have you wondered why they act abnormal? Or you may ask, what is really going on in their minds? Do you need Annette? Well, keep listening for a biblical understanding of the psychology of the mind.
Well, hello and great afternoon to each and every one of you on today. Oh my goodness, I'm excited, but I cannot forget. I must acknowledge the Lord in prayer. Lord, we thank you for this wonderful day. It is a wonderful day because we're here to see it. We thank you for who you are and how you are. We ask that you would get the glory out of today's session, get the glory out of our lives, oh God. In the name of Jesus, we pray. And our opening scripture that I normally like to quote is the first part of Hosea 4:6. You can probably quote it with me. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. And again, we're grateful to be here. It is another Wednesday and it is 12 o'clock. So that means it's time for Mind, Body, and Soul to come on live to bring you another wonderful session. Now, when you come in, let me let you know there are different ways that you can listen to us on today. 3 different ways. You can go to the station's website to hear us at IntellectualRadio.com. Intellectual Radio, all one word. You can type that in to hear us. And then you can go on over to YouTube. When you go to YouTube, type in Intellectual Radio and you will see Mind, Body, and Soul live at the present time. Also, I have a Facebook live feed going on my personal page, Annette, known as Annette. So when you come in, again, go ahead, share. We would appreciate it. That way we can share this feed with others and everyone can engage in as they see fit. Now, I want to let you know that I have a wonderful guest with me on this afternoon, and I reached out to her. She's been on before, so she's kind of a vet here at Mind, Body, and Soul. She's no newbie. She's not a novice here. She's been in front of this mic before. And let me tell you this. At the beginning, when you hear my opening intro, you will hear you'll hear my sister giving you the intro, telling you who you're listening to and all of that. But then you'll hear in the background a wonderful jingle. I get so excited every time I know Mind, Body, and Soul has a jingle. It's the little things that make me happy. And the voice that is singing the jingle is here to my right today. Demetrius Hunt is here in the house on this afternoon. And how are you?
I am well. How
Good.
are you?
I'm doing good.
Awesome.
Now, maybe I should have had you singing it live when we came in. I don't know what I was thinking. You probably were like, no, I need music. I know, right? Put her on the spot. But she is the voice, and she created that jingle herself. She did. I just told her. I mean, I just asked her if she would. I didn't give her any words or anything. She did. I no. You did that on your own, right? See, got to hook up with people. You know what I'm saying? Networking is key. No, but this is how the Lord blesses her. She's a wonderful psalmist. She can sing. She can minister the word of God. I've heard her, and she's just a blessing to the body of Christ. And I'm so glad that I have her here this afternoon because we want to try and talk about a subject that is near and dear to her heart. It touches me as well, but we were looking and listening, or should I say, to the events that are surrounding us. Let me just throw this in there. I said I did not want to talk about anything that had to do with R. Kelly. I didn't. Everybody else was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else was talking about R. Kelly and what he's doing, what he's not doing, privileges he's had or whatever, and the insane story that has come out of this. And I was going to say you just can't get a break, but sometimes when you make breaks, you can't get breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I said that right, but anyway, so I said I wasn't necessarily going to talk about his situation per se. Now, this topic that we're going to discuss on today, it does surround it. And I believe that some of the posts that I've seen Demetrius actually put up on Facebook, on social media, probably maybe was a result of what you in the media, I'm sure. So we are going to talk about it, but indirectly today. All right.
Yes.
So, and when you and I talked, you gave me a topic that you kind of wanted to title it.
Yes.
Why don't you tell my listeners? First of all, let's back it up a little bit. Tell them a little bit about you, because I know some of them know about you. But those who are just not coming in, who is this lady? Okay. So I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, and then we can talk about this topic title first and why it was important for us to even discuss it on today.
Okay. Once again, my name is Demetrius Hunt, and I am a singer. I am a songwriter. I am a psalmist, and I am an author. My book will be coming out soon,
Yes,
and
yes.
it will be talking about what we're going to be talking about today. I'll be sharing my story. In the book. And so I'm just excited to be here with Annette on today, my sister
Yes.
in Christ, and just thankful she has been a blessing to me. And I've become uh, comfortable with sharing my story because I understand that there are young women and young men out here that are suffering in silence. And so I want to continue to speak out about it. I know that it's not popular, but that's why I'm here today.
Wonderful. And I'm so glad that you said it that way because, yeah, there's so many. And as I was talking on the way here, I did a pre-show about how so many are suffering silently. They're dealing with this in their own way because sometimes they don't know how, they don't know what to do. They're just, all over the place, basically. So it is a very sensitive topic. I know I did put on my post a sensitive topic alert. I think Demetria put that on first, and then I'm like, that was perfect. Sensitive topic alert, because, again, sometimes, things affect us, things bother us, but we don't necessarily know how to get it across.
Absolutely.
What it is we're dealing with. So, but yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about you being an author. She actually wrote, you did a collaboration.
Two collaborations.
Two collaborations.
Sharing just parts of my story, but in my upcoming book, you will get the full story, detail by detail.
Wow.
So
deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
It's been a journey.
And we're gonna have her back when that book comes out, for sure. And look, I just told her that. Okay. I've nerved on her. No, but yes, we're gonna have her back. So however much you want to talk about that on today, we can. But we can delve into this topic. So now, the reason for you even wanting to do a session on this and how you came about with this particular topic title.
Well, it was surrounding the events with R. Kelly and other people that have been sexually assaulting or whatever, young ladies or men. And so something sparked in me. I ran across a post and I printed it out and brought it with me today. And I wanted to answer some of these questions that were put out, from a victim standpoint, from someone who has been through it. And so I wanted to give people more of an understanding, and also to talk about, what if there is no evidence? What if you don't have that material? And that was one of the posts that I put out there. What if someone violated you, but you have no material evidence, you have no physical or tangible evidence to prove that this thing has happened to you? And so if you don't have the evidence, did it really happen to you? So before we get into that, I want to share something when you're ready.
Okay. All right. Well, tell them exactly what the topic title is.
So but we're going to talk about a lot of different things surrounding it. But the title is, what if there is no evidence? What about the evidence? Or what happens when no one believes you? So that's pretty much what it's surrounded by.
Okay. All right. And again, when I put up posts, we talked about individuals going through things and sometimes they don't really share. Some people were sharing and throwing comments and notes in that I wasn't even aware that they had been affected. And we're talking about being sexually violated, sexually abused. This is what we're discussing on today. And sometimes it helps for individuals to hear someone else's story.
Yes.
But not only hearing that, but hearing how they came out of it. So that's the whole point of today. So if we don't do anything on today, the main thing is to make sure that somebody is helped.
Yes.
Somebody is encouraged to confront, discuss, a situation that may have happened to them or their loved one. Because sometimes, we can see, individuals, we may not have been through it ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
but then we see others, but then they're so, they keep it all inside and, for whatever reason. And we're going to talk about that on today. Let me do a quick shout out to individuals here before we allow you to share that. Whatever you want to share with us. David Smith, thank you for watching. Michelle Thomas, Deborah Brown, Deidre Carter, Sherry, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for watching. Let's see. Angelique Stewart, did I pronounce it right this time?
Yes.
Angelique. Okay. I said it wrong the other time. I hope I got it right. Beverly Brown, she says, great topic. Deidre says, good afternoon, all. Already shared. Appreciate you. Thank you. Auntie Deborah, appreciate you for watching as well. But yeah, this is going to be hot. Now I'm going to let you know you can call in today if you have questions, comments, on this topic on today. Please do. Oh, she said I pronounced it right. Thank you. Appreciate it. I hate butchering people's names. The number here is 708-223-8953. Again, 708-223-8953. We want to hear from you on today. And then as we're talking on today, there's something that Demetrius has shared that you kind of want to comment on. Please do so. Please call in 708-223-8953. And then, of course, you can make your comments here on Facebook Live and then on YouTube as well. We'll try to catch them and read them as we go along on today. Mm-hmm. Now, you say you want to share something with us to start off?
Yes.
Okay.
So as we begin, I want to share a scripture with you. I like to always bring something spiritual connected with my story, and just bring some balance to it all. So you have the natural side and the spiritual side. And so first of all, I want to start off with Proverbs 4:7, which says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get an understanding. And what that is saying is, wisdom is the thing. We need to get wisdom. And with all of the wisdom that you're getting, get an understanding, which is to have discernment, get knowledge, perfectly understanding, to consider or to have insight. And so in this situation, dealing with sexual abuse, molestation, or assault, I'm asking everyone today to get wisdom.
Get wisdom.
Try to get an understanding from the perspective of both sides, from the perspective of the victim and from the perspective of the abuser. Because a lot of times we don't seek to get an understanding. We just seek to blame, to point the finger, to see who we can blame for what has happened or what is going on. And there is blame. However, let's get an understanding of the whys. And I always say that people don't normally ask the why. Why is this person like this? Why do they behave this way? And there's a reason behind it. So I'm asking everyone, and all of your getting, let's get an understanding. And how many of us know that when you're not familiar or with a certain topic or experience, it's very important that you try to get an understanding. So say, for instance, the woman that's being abused physically. When you ask the question, well, why she just won't leave? There's a reason behind it. And a reason that you may not be able to understand. But we're going to talk about that on today. So I'm asking everyone to, sometimes you may have to do research. When you've not been through something, sometimes you may have to do research, or at least try to put yourself in the person's position. to get an understanding. So in all of our getting of wisdom, let's get an understanding today.
I love that. And that's a good place to start.
Mhm.
Perfect. Well said. Because it is very important for us. And it's almost sound like you're saying have an open mind too,
Mhm.
and I like also how you said from the victim's point of view and the
Mhm.
perpetrator.
Mhm.
Looking at this R. Kelly situation, one of the things that came out was he was abused himself
Yes.
constantly when he was younger, over and over and over again. Now, we don't know, or I don't know, I'm just take myself, if he ever tried to reach out for help, if he
Mhm.
ever tried to expose his
Mhm.
abuser,
Mhm.
and maybe there was no evidence
Come on.
or no one listened to him.
Mhm.
And I'm just creating this in my mind. It could have
Mhm.
been like that. So then he continued on.
Yeah.
And then when he, became older, whenever it started with him, because sometimes people think, well, okay, obviously this is the way of life. This is
Mhm.
how I should do this. This is
Mhm.
how I should conduct my life. It was done to me, and nobody stopped it. Nobody listened to me or whatever. So I'll just continue on with this. Not saying that they sat down there and, like
Mhm.
verbally said it, but it's, like their actions,
Mhm.
say, okay, and they didn't stop. Okay, well, maybe this is how it should be. This
Yeah.
is how I should run my life. And no, this is not giving him an excuse
Mhm.
for what he did at all. But that all of that is to be considered, like you said, use wisdom,
Yes.
when dealing with the victim, dealing with the perpetrator.
Mhm.
I love it. I love how you brought that out. Let's see. Demetra says this reminds me of the stage play Behind Closed Doors Exposed. Yes, definitely.
Mm.
She was able to see it. They took it to Indianapolis on this weekend. Mia Ogburn and her production took that wonderful play to Indianapolis, and she got a chance to view it, go there and hear it for herself live. And she said she was very, very pleased with what she heard. But yeah, this definitely reminds you of that because it's talking about things that go on behind closed doors,
Mhm.
and this play exposes a lot of it. Lady Iris Reed, I see you on. Thanks for watching. Mother Harris, we appreciate you. And also Andre Carter,
Hey,
thank you for
y'all.
watching. Appreciate you. All right, all right. So you said, okay, so we can start there. And now you tell me your thoughts on when you talk about having an open mind on both sides of the situation, the victim, the perpetrator. What are your thoughts when people say, okay, well, like what I just said about R.
Mhm.
Kelly, because, you get a lot of people, they'll knock that down in a minute. Oh, well, no, that doesn't give him an excuse or whatever, or it shouldn't have mattered that he was abused. All of
Mhm.
that comes into play, though.
It does.
When you put all of it together, all the alphabet, letters, all the numbers together, all of
Mhm.
it comes into play. So what are your thoughts when people, mention about, okay, he was abused or whatever? Do you immediately, or did you immediately say, nah, there's no excuse for him or whatever? What did you think?
Well, because I've been through it, and the person who violated me, we've had talks about it.
Okay.
See, and I think that's something that I need to bring out. I can respect a person, even if you've done wrong. I can respect you if you can at least admit it. When you,
Got it.
you know, be accountable for what you did. This is still alleged, right?
Right, right,
This is still alleged regarding him.
right.
But I'm saying, if you can, because the person that violated me asked for my forgiveness several times,
Mm.
still trying to make up for years later. I mean, this happened to me when I was 10 to the age of 14, but still trying, and then thought that there was no redemption
For them.
for him.
Okay.
That there was no redemption for him. But when I got the background story of his life and how he was raised and the things that he saw his father do and the violating other, people, family members or whatever. And so that situation was perpetrated on him. So that's what I'm saying. And so then it becomes a cycle. And the things that we don't deal with becomes repetitive, or the dysfunctions that we don't deal with, we can end up perpetuating it over and over and over again. But a lot of times we don't have anyone there to help us because they don't see it, or we didn't speak up about it. And so I know it from both perspectives, because like I said, I've had these talks with the one who violated me. I have forgiven him. But this is the thing about the stuff that we do. God forgives us. You can be saved. God forgives us. But there is a natural consequence. There is a law of sowing and reaping, whether good or bad. That what you put out, you may get it back. And so, although he's forgiven, I've forgiven him, God has forgiven him, he's saved, this thing follows him throughout his life. And so he's later up in age, but now every state you go in, you have to register as a sex offender.
Okay.
So you can be forgiven. However, the consequences of our acts, and that's any of us in any situation. So that's how I choose to look at stuff. I've forgiven. And the reason why I had to forgive is for my own personal healing, and so that I am able to help somebody else that's hurting right now and that's holding this secret, and they're literally dying on the inside. How do I know? Because it was me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's how I see it. Like with the whole R. Kelly situation, this is how I look at people in general when they're acting out or doing things. Like, what happened to them? God taught me how to do that. Because remember when it was happening to you and you begin to act out in a way that was not ladylike or whatever, something was going on there and no one knew about it but me and God.
Oh, this is deep.
Yeah.
Ooh wee. Angela Lane is on. Jamone, thanks for watching. Demetra says here, this is her words. When I was raped by an ex, and this was years after they dated, came to me and asked for forgiveness. Talking to him helped me to free. Talking to him helped to free me mentally and emotionally.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can see, as you were saying, you need to do that for yourself and to free yourself.
Yes.
And of course, as you were talking too, I was thinking about the perpetrator, your perpetrator, your abuser. And it sounds as if, like you were saying, they were constantly asking you to forgive them, whether or not did they forgive themselves.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah.
That's difficult. And like you said, like he said, even when he went to God seeking for redemption to be saved, he said to me, we had this talk. He said, we were sitting like this. And he said to me, is there a redemption for me? Is there hope for me? Because I've hurt someone. I've hurt several people. And can I be helped? Would you still love me? Oh, it's deep. Isn't that deep?
That is deep.
It's deep because we're all God's children, but we're all got some type of dysfunction.
Yeah, right.
We need help.
Yes.
And we have to rely on him, our Father, our Abba Father, for help. That's the only way to be able to admit that you need the help and that you somewhere this thing got into you that you probably didn't even ask for.
Right.
That maybe you were birthed into, because remember the scripture says we were born into sin. We were shaped into iniquity. And so some of this stuff we didn't ask for. Some of this stuff came with with the territory. It came through our bloodline.
Right.
And so you're fighting against it every day. But we thank God for the blood of Jesus that prevails.
Yes.
And that covers a multitude of faults and sins. But I think the key is being able to admit it, that I have a problem. Just like me, being able to come face to face with, look, this thing happened to you. And in order for you to get your healing, you got to be able to release it. And now that, it's been out for a while now.
Right.
And I'm healed. And now I'm able, my goal or my desire is to help somebody.
Yes.
Because somebody right now, as we speak, is suffering in silence.
Yes.
Somebody right now is being violated.
At this moment.
Somebody's being raped. Somebody's being molested. Some child is being molested right now as we speak. And I have such a cry on the inside for those individuals. Why? Because I've been there. I've been there. And so just thanking God for being able to overcome.
Right. And then, sometimes we don't understand why we go through different things. Um, and I'm sure you had questions yourself.
Absolutely.
Why did this happen to me? Or Lord, why did you even allow it? Sometimes we may find out the answer, or sometimes we may never know. But I love your concept of paying it forward and wanting to help somebody else.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay. Angelique says, Demetrius, your heart is so pure. I agree. It really is. Josh, I see you on. Thanks for watching. Felicia Townsend. We just talked about behind closed doors, Felicia. Thanks for watching. Sir William Hunt is watching.
Hey, hubby.
let me just take this
in
time
my Wendy
and say,
Williams voice. How you doing?
Right. That would be
hit me
her
for that.
husband. That's her husband. That's why she's doing all that, everybody.
He's probably saying, just
right. Just stop. But I want to let you and him know we're definitely still praying for you. Unfortunately, he lost his father the other week, and we've been praying, so we're still praying for you.
Thank you
all,
so
your
much.
family. Chris Davenport, thanks for watching. Elder Kevin McGee is on, and Erica says, "Speak, cousin." Yes, she speak. Erica Cliff.
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you all for watching. And Inez says, she's so proud of you.
That's my sister.
Yes.
My blood sister.
Yes. Oh, really? Okay.
Hey, sugar.
Thank you so much, Inez. We appreciate you on today. When you guys come into the live feed, go ahead and like and share. Share it on your page so others will see it as well. Okay. We would appreciate that. But yeah, this is a hot topic. We're talking about this on today. Let me see what I want to do here because, oh my goodness. Yeah, we want to talk about this no evidence. Because, sometimes when things happen, it's not like you're going to pull out your camera or your phone right away and start filming stuff or whatever. Although some people do it so fast nowadays, I think they're used to it. But there could have been a time there was no social media or no cameras or anything to record about that. So that's what we want to touch on. Let's do this. Take a quick break. Maybe we can listen to a little bit of music from Demetrius Hunt. She's got a couple of singles out. And so we want to support her as well. So take a listen to the music. We'll come back for more of Mind, Body, and Soul with Nette. Don't go anywhere. We're here on Intellectual Radio.
Overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. You told me to be strong, never giving in. You promised you'd always be with me. Overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. Told me to be strong, never. I promised you always be with me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm more than a conqueror. More than a conqueror. I can do, yes I can. I can do all things. Christ who strengthens me. More than a conqueror. Yes I am. More than a conqueror. I can do, yes I can. I can do all things. Christ who strengthens me. He's given me the power. He's given me authority. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm more than a conqueror. More than a conqueror. Yeah.
All right, all right. We are back. What is that? More than a conqueror? Is that the name of that? You've been listening to Demetrius Hunt, More Than a Conqueror. Beautiful song, isn't it? And very apropos for today's topic as well. If you're just now joining us, you're not too late. We're just 30 minutes in, as I've been reminded over the break. And I am here. You're listening to Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, and I have in my midst Demetrius Hunt. And we're having her to share her story about how, and she's opened up about it, about how she was abused and violated sexually when she was young. She was just a little girl. Oh my God, my heart just it just tugs at your heart when you hear stuff like that. But we're talking today a little twist on this. Talk about what do you do when you don't have the evidence of being violated, of being abused. Excuse me. How do you even prove what you've been through? How do you even explain it to individuals? Because sometimes when you look at it in the scope of things, you got the Me Too movement, hashtag Me Too. So many of those individuals. Now everybody's not telling the story. Now some of them may be making some up, but those who really were abused, who really were violated, a lot of times they didn't come forth because they were shamed. It was a variety of reasons. They were shamed. Maybe they were threatened. And then some of that, they didn't think that they would be heard. So now you have a lot of them, they've gained strength from each other, which is why you really have this Me Too movement. This is just my summary of it. They've gained strength from each other. And so, okay, I'm going to tell my story now. Yeah, that one violated me. And I'm going to tell my story. You know, they feel that strength now. And we're in a world, a society now where social media is a craze, if you will. This is how we communicate with each other. I'll throw this in. Last week, I was doing my show. I couldn't do a Facebook live feed because Facebook and Instagram were down. And I'm like, okay, well, the show has to go on anyway. We were on YouTube, thankfully. Thankfully, YouTube wasn't clowning or acting up. I was able to do that. But I just said that to say we're in this, social media society. Everything is, out there. You're doing live feeds. You're advertising, whatever. So without having that, and you said you were started being violated when you were 10 years old.
Yes.
You didn't have all that then. And not that she's old, but it wasn't.
Wait a minute.
I said old. She's not old at all. But it wasn't the craze then. You didn't, you didn't, you couldn't go hop on Instagram or whatever and okay, this is what happened, or, maybe have videos or something like that to take to the courts or what have you. So this is what I want to talk about right now in terms of the evidence. When you were, well, first of all, when you got the, the strength to talk about to come out with it. Let's start there. Because a good 4 years you had been abused. Okay. So, the reason why you held it for so long, and then the strength that you received to even address it.
Well, let me just start by saying this. So to give some perspective as to why it's so difficult. Sexual predators or molesters, they come in all races, backgrounds, ethnicities. It's not discriminatory. They come in all shapes, forms, and fashions. And it's normally done by someone that's close to you, a family member or a friend of the family. So let me share some statistics.
Okay.
49% of victims under the age of 6 are molested or sexually preyed upon by a family member or a friend of the family. 42% of victims ages 7 to 11 by a family member or a friend of the family. 24% of victims age 12 through 17 by a family member or a friend of the family. What makes it difficult is that it's a family member or a friend of the family. And so, say you love this person. And this is the thing about predators and manipulators. They're charismatic,
Mm.
they're charming. It does not start off with abuse. You are preyed upon. And if you're a child, what do children like? We like candy.
Yes.
We like if you reward us. So it starts off with little things like that. Oh, here, I want to give you $1 because you're just so pretty. Or, oh, here's some candy. Just doing nice things. So you think it's just love. You think that this is okay, this is normal. And so then after a while, now you trust this person. You trust this person, you've embraced this person, as whatever they are to you. Whether it's, like I said, a family member, just think about it. If it's your father or if it's your mother, you cannot see them doing these heinous things to you. And you don't know that this dysfunction is on the inside of them. And then all of a sudden one day, because you trust, next thing you know, it's like, oh, I want to show you something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is going to get real deep.
Yes.
Oh, I want to show you something. Let me show you this. And then here comes the touching. It starts off with the shoulder or the hand or on the leg. And so because you trust,
Yes.
you don't say anything.
You don't say anything. Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe this is normal. They love me. They give me stuff. They compliment me. And so then love is perverted at that point.
Yes.
Now, you, the child, you don't know that you're being perverted, but the adult has a dysfunction. And their dysfunction is making them act out on their desires or whatever. And so, with that being said, when it's time for you, when it has happened to you by someone that you trust, it's very difficult to come out and say it because you don't want to get that person in trouble.
Right.
You don't want anybody to be mad at you. They're going to be, because somehow the victim makes it their fault.
They take it all on themselves.
And what is that?
Mm-hmm.
That we make it our fault. So if I'm already beating myself up, how do you think it feels when other people say, well, she was fast. She knew what she was doing at that age. He knew what he was doing. He wanted it. She wanted it. How can you tell me at 10 that I wanted to be sexually molested? You're going to tell me I wanted that? I thought this person was being kind to me. I thought this person loved me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's very difficult to come out with any type of evidence when you're dealing with it from that perspective. Evidence is available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid.
Mm-hmm.
Material, objects, or proof. Material. Something tangible, something that you can, like you say, nowadays we can do a video.
Right.
Or we could do a audio recording to prove it. I've seen several videos of people doing it nowadays, and I'm just like, man, where was that when I needed it?
Right.
Where was that? But then would I have done it? Because fear is a key factor.
Mm-hmm.
But the one definition that most fits someone like me is the evidence, the definition of evidence that says signs or indications. I don't have physical proof. I don't have tangible or material proof. But baby, there are some signs there that something happened to me.
Yes.
There are some signs there that something happened to him and something happened to her. And so, say for instance, the first time I ran away from home and tried to tell, well, I did tell, I had no physical evidence.
How old were you at that point?
I believe I was 13 because I
Okay.
ran away twice. And the last time I was 14 the second time. But was it? Let me see. Or I may it's somewhere up in there.
So it was during this 4 year
It was
period, though.
during the 4 year period. Well, I went to the police station right here in the city of Chicago.
Right.
And they brought the perpetrator in, gave him a lie detector test. He passed the lie detector test and sent me right back home with them. And the abuse kept going.
Mm.
It did not stop. And it actually got worse.
And did it get worse at
It
that
got
point?
worse because not only was I being sexually abused, but I was being beaten as well. Like, you know, beaten,
Physically
physical
beaten.
abuse.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I remember, like I said, they didn't, because I don't think I was given a chance. See, that
Mm.
you got to remember, that was back let me see. That's back in 1980, 88, 87, 86, 85.
Right, right. Mhm.
So I even think back then it was probably normal. People probably came in all the time for stuff like that and they just sent them back home. But that last time I came in, I ran away right after. I had
Okay.
been sexually assaulted and I had been beaten really,
Mm.
really bad. And I was bleeding.
Oh.
And I went to the police and they took me to the hospital. And they examined me and I had evidence of sexual, but they could have, I was 14. So they could have just been like, well, you just had sex with somebody. You
Right. Right.
you had sex. I still didn't have enough proof for them to hold him. So what happened, they sent me to a group home. I stayed in a group home. Um Now, and they told him he could not go back home. If my mom wanted me to come back home, he couldn't be in the household.
Okay.
But that's not, what happened. Well, I don't know what happened with that. But when I got back home after a week being in the group home, because they say you can go home if you want to. So I'm thinking I'm all in the clear, but I wasn't. And I walked in, because I had been threatened all those years. If you ever tell, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your family. I'm going to kill your mama, And so I was so afraid. I was so afraid. But like I said, I finally got the courage one day because I was just tired. And I'm like, well, hey, I got to die anyway. Hey, we could die today.
Wow.
And that's pretty much how it ended, with me taking that step, overcoming fear, taking that step, but to be confronted at the age of 14 with a gun put up to my head,
Oh my God.
saying, I told you if you ever tell that I will kill you. But at this point, I'm so numb and I don't even care anymore. I'm like, shoot me.
Wow.
Shoot me. Well, needless to say, I'm still here. I did,
Right. They
and
didn't carry it
yeah,
out. Mhm.
but I didn't have enough evidence for it to stick to put him in jail.
So from the police standpoint, you didn't have enough evidence from that respect. I'm over here, girl. My eyes are welling up with tears, and I'm just thinking, because my heart just goes out, especially to these babies.
Yeah.
That was so much pressure on you as a young person. Like you said, you had to overcome that fear to even talk about it. You had to overcome the threats. And so I don't know, what you were dealing 4 years. My God, night after night, you're thinking in your mind, man, I don't know what all you had to grapple with, what all you had to, to figure out. And okay, should I go tell today? Should I go tell tomorrow? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, what you were thinking or whatever. And then, finally, okay, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna. I guess you probably figured it was, make or break, type thing. but yeah, this is really something. Let me read this real quick on Facebook Live. Demetra says victims are vilified and abusers are protected, which makes so many remain silent. The victim needs the support, not the crucifixion of the people that should support them. I agree. Deidre says here, I hear so many people calling the victims fast. I despise that. That is an evil thing to do. Nobody under any circumstance deserves to be sexually abused. Rolanda, thank you for watching. She says, my God, as you were talking. Demetra also says here, her story makes me want to go back. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if I should read that on the air, but you guys see Demetra's comment there.
I feel her.
Yeah.
When you just talking about what was going on in your mind, oh baby, I was plotting and planning.
I'm sure.
How can I get rid of this person?
Right.
How can I get out of this situation every day? And then you still have to go to school and you smile and you play with your friends, but you knew when you got home that there was possibly going to be another episode
situation.
It's even in front. I'm telling you, the fear was so great that we could be having cookouts and I was being touched with family members being there. There was one situation, it's in the book. There was one situation one time in the car and I was being fondled while I was in the back seat.
Oh my God.
So that's what I'm saying. But fear, when you impose fear on someone to that degree, how can they speak? You become paralyzed. I was paralyzed. I didn't know how to speak up. But as I got older and, I kept planning and plotting my escape.
Right.
Like, I got to get out of here. So yeah.
And then because you talked about, gave us the stats, and thank you so much for that on the abuse, on the different age ranges and the percentages here. You talked about trusting an individual, and the post I put up this morning, the words that I put up this morning on that post,
that was powerful.
As I was laying, when I awakened this morning, and as I was actually in prayer, those words came to me. Those words came to me, and I said, "Oh my God, I got to put this on the post." I just wanted people to imagine, wanted them to imagine, situation. And you kind of talked earlier about, kind of putting yourself into a situation or whatever. But I said, imagine this. Let me just read this, guys. Imagine this. You're minding your own business. You're living your own life. Then out of nowhere, unprovoked by you, they start taking an interest in you in a different way. They may ask how your day went or tell you that you can confide in them. You talked about candy. You talked about giving you things. Then they cleverly betray your trust in them by doing the unthinkable. And then just like that, the once innocent you becomes the sexually abused, violated you. And this says so much because we always say with children, they're so innocent. They're really innocent. They're going to trust that adult. They're going to trust, that individual, that whether it's aunt, uncle, mother, father, whatever, you figure, okay, you're older than me. You must know what you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like you said, it became, you thought this is the way love is supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Because you keep telling me I'm pretty. You keep, saying you love me. You keep giving me stuff. So this obviously it must be how it looks. It must be what it's supposed to be. And that's what they do. They prey on the young like that. They prey on the innocent. They prey on, those who, probably at that time really can't think it out for themselves. So, but I am also glad that even in your conversation just now, you kept referring back to the dysfunction that was in that abuser, because it came from somewhere.
It came from somewhere.
Absolutely.
And how I could have become one.
Right. And exactly.
Because it happened to me.
Yes.
I could have been one.
You could have continued.
But how about the buck stops here? Like, yes. I mean, I had no interest or desire to be a sexual abuser. But how about when something happens to you, here we go with evidence, right? My evidence was I was an angry child.
Right.
I was an angry teenager. I was bitter. I was mad. I became mean. And people would tell me, "You are mean. you, what is wrong with you?" Like I had gotten labeled this mean individual as a teenager, but no one ever really tapped into where I was to help me get help. I needed help. I needed some healing. But this is the problem. I wasn't heard initially.
Okay.
So now I'm expressing my feelings through certain actions. So you all won't hear me this way, but you're going to hear me now.
Right.
Through anger,
Right.
through my bitterness. So anybody that tried to attack me, honey, you say something to me, I'm saying something back to you. That's
Right.
how it was.
Right.
You know, nobody's going to violate me again. No one's going to touch me again.
Yes.
Even when I got saved, and I can laugh about it now.
Right.
And you know, I done had my own children at this point, and I'm like, nobody's touching my children
Right.
because I'm going to jail, saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost. I'm going to jail.
Right.
I'm going to jail.
Right.
Because no, this is not happening to my children. I suffered.
Yes.
No one rescued me. And so that's why I am so adamant about it. That's why I'm speaking up, because it's out there now. We got all these movements. It's out there, and it's time to speak up about it and to get help on both ends.
Right.
People need help.
Yes.
People need healing. People need deliverance, you know. But we have to admit that we have these issues and deal with them so that we can be free. But like I said, it began to come out. My evidence was, like you say, when you say she was fast, well, why was she fast? Or why do you think she's fast? Maybe because somebody touched her when she was 5.
See?
Why do you think he's managed? Maybe because somebody touched him or fondled with him or had him doing sexual acts when he was 8 or when he was 10.
Tell it.
Someone who he trusted, you know, someone was sharing their story with me about a babysitter that did it to him. And this is a guy. And so that's what I'm saying. You never know. And we label people, but we don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've encountered. And that's why I said in the beginning, let us get wisdom. And with all of our getting, let's get an understanding. Yes. Because people are hurting. You've been through things that have hurt you.
Yes.
And because I haven't been through it, I shouldn't beat you up about it. I should at least try to get an understanding. Like, wait a minute, something's going on here.
Right.
How can I help you? Or how can I serve you? Or what can I do to make it better?
Right.
Do you need counseling? Do you need some type of help? Do you need to talk to someone? Or do you need an intervention? And that's what we need nowadays.
Yes.
And but it's very difficult. But I think the more transparent we are, the more comfortable young ladies and young men, or even older, you got some in their 60s that's still dealing with it, and they're not free.
They're not.
They're not free.
They're not free. That's true.
They're not free.
That's true.
And I'm free today.
Yes.
And I know because I'm talking about it. And I used to cry a lot just to even think about it. But God told me, you got to speak up. I need you to be an advocate. I need you. Somebody needs you. Some young girl needs you. Now that'll make me cry.
Yes.
Some young man needs you. And they need to know that they can overcome. So if I cry now, it's not because I'm sad or I'm broken. It's because I'm crying out for somebody else.
There you go.
I'm crying out. And I remember one morning, it hit me so bad. It was like a spirit came over me of that was happening everywhere in the world. And there was a well that came out of me. And God was like, this is why you got to speak up. And there are others like me that are speaking up. I'm only one person, but there are others speaking up. And I do want to say this. If it has not happened to you, do not lie and say that it did.
Good.
If it has not happened to you, don't lie on us. I don't believe in that. Don't lie on people. That's dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
That's dangerous. You know, only if it happened to you, you speak up about it. And because I know that happens a lot. And I want to say to men, Be careful. You have to be careful now. Ask permission to even touch a female. Ask for
Okay.
their permission.
Yes.
Can I touch you? Can I give you a hug or
Right.
whatever? Especially if you don't know you had that type of relationship with them,
Right.
I want to say to even male pastors,
Mhm.
before you lay your hands on somebody, when you praying for, you may want to ask, because folks are kind of,
Right.
and so that's just a different perspective of it. Let's protect ourselves on both ends so that no one is able to accuse you of doing something that you're not trying to do.
Love it.
Yeah.
This girl is hitting today, I'm telling you, and I'm glad that the Lord got her attention to tell it. 708-223-8953 if you want to call in, 708-223-8953. We appreciate those of you that are jumping in, hopping in. And Erica, where you been? Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Robert Jordan, I don't know if I called you or not. My cousin, Barbara Green. Oh, let's see here. Rolanda, I did mention she was on, and she said that's how they keep you in bondage. They grip with fear, but God. Lamone, my guest from last week, thank you for watching. He says, thank God for her sharing her story. Yes, it is very powerful. Let's see. Demetra says, pray for me because I have no compassion nor mercy for pedophiles. Yeah, I got you. I understand, sis.
I feel you,
I
sister.
understand. Sharon Gibson says, thank you for sharing. And dear, I appreciate you for watching. Still praying for you and your family. She lost her son last year, I believe it was. This subject is very serious and so common. I pray your story free others to get the help and support they need. The evidence is definitely misdiagnosed. Buddy Gill says, hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. Hey, Kenyatta, how are you, sweetie? Thank you for watching.
Thank you, everybody.
Rolanda says, it'll make you have trust issues with everyone.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it will. It will. It will.
And affect every relationship. I don't care if it's a woman, a man, boy, girl. It affects all of your relationships.
It will. And you have me laughing then, understanding what you were saying when you mentioned about your children.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that one Tyler Perry movie, and I cannot think of the name of it. When, oh goodness, I can only think of the gentleman that was in there, but I can't think of his name, the light-skinned guy. But anyway, he was trying to date this young woman, and she had two little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they got close or whatever. I think she ended up like staying or whatever over there. And then she woke up the next morning, and he didn't want to disturb her sleep. He took her kids out to get some ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And she got up and she was looking for her children, and she was like, oh my God, oh my God. And
family
when he came
reunion.
back in, family reunion. Yes, thank you. I knew it was something, guys. I couldn't think of it. Somebody's yelling in the studio. It was a movie. Anyway. But yeah, and when they came back in, she yelled at him. She fussed. No, nobody takes my children, whatever. Then there was an underlying, there was something else there. She had been through some stuff herself.
Yep.
And so so that's what you reminded me of. I'm protecting my children, like get back. Okay. But yeah, I can totally understand that. You said what?
I said, I'm nice now.
You're nice now.
I've been delivered.
She's a sweetheart. She really is. It's interesting how the Lord brings individuals out. Let's see. Another comment here. I'm so sick of people calling. Did I read this already? I'm so sick of people calling kids fast or mannish. Kids are just kids. Get to the root of why you think they are fast. That's from Demetrius. Demetrius says people don't have to touch you to pray.
You know what? I love Demetrius.
Elder McGee said it was Meet the Browns. Now I think it was family reunion. Yeah, I have
it's family reunion.
Yes. Okay. Michaela, thanks for watching. She says, good show. We must go deep. We definitely must go deep. Buddy says, I appreciate Demetra sharing her story, her experience. There are so many victims who will not ever share their stories of abuse because of the shame, the so-called embarrassment, and they remain bound to that issue for years. Yes, Buddy, I agree. And they have to get to a point. They have to get to a point where they kind of, like you said, get fed up. I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to, experience this anymore. And then, speak up. So hopefully, that we're praying that today's show, what is said, and I'm allowing Demetrius to share whatever, all she wants to share. She experienced this personally herself. So this is coming from, it's coming from her directly, and prayerfully, it'll be something that will help you on today. Let's see, you have a look like a lot of notes over there, but I think what I want to do right now, we have a spoken word.
Yes.
From Elder Kevin McGee, and I want to have that played now because I think it'll this is an appropriate time. Of course, Elder Kevin McGee has a show here on Saturdays entitled Connection, 12 noon Central Standard Time. Make sure you guys check him out. He always pins a spoken word for mind, body, and soul, pertinent to the topic. So take a listen.
You were on a path that you thought was a way to happiness. Growing up as a child, you took advantage of the fun and youthful existence that was before you. Life was on your side and nothing could go wrong. Or could it? You see, wolves come in sheep's clothing, different sizes, different backgrounds, different races, and different genders. But the result is always the same. Your trust has been betrayed because you have been ensnared in a web of lies and deceit, your innocence stolen by those you thought had genuine love and concern for you. But as they got closer, they kept taking until they took all of you. You see, in their mind, you would just pray, and they wanted to not only conquer you, but put fear in you so that they can control you, and you would never dare say a word. They have become the boogeyman. And who would you tell? Who would believe you? You against a family member, against a teacher, against a significant other, against a pastor or fellow church member, someone rich or famous. And so you close yourself off, becoming a festering sore of fear and anguish, determined never to trust a love again. Acting out from childhood to adult years, and people dismiss you as going through phases or having emotional instability. No one can hear your silent screams, and when you see the person who violated you, you retreat into a cocoon, fear overtaking you, and you ask yourself these questions. Why didn't mama's intuition kick in when her boyfriend kept coming into my room? When and why did my friends leave me whenever Mr. Johnson wanted to keep me after class, even though I told them not to? Why didn't the pastor's prophetic gift point out that the Sunday school teacher who always needed me down at the church when no one else was around was bothering me? And the proverbial question, God, why was this allowed to happen to me?
I know. Give it two snap. I always tell you I
my
can't snap
God.
with my right hand, but yeah, we're gonna snap. We're gonna snap today. Deep.
Sir, you tapped all the way in.
Didn't he tap? He tapped.
Lord have mercy.
Yes. And then he ended up with that question. Why?
Why? Thank you for that, Elder McGee.
I don't know if I'm just feeling, I don't know. Today my heart is just
That's beautiful.
my heart is just going out for those who are suffering. It really is. I thank God. Somebody put up on a post, one of their comments was they thank God that they were able to fight off their would-be abuser. I thank God that I've never experienced anything like that. And I don't in any way minimize what others have. But it just kind of makes you think, makes you wonder, again, were they doing this, acting or reacting because of something that happened to them, or could it have been? What could it have been? Who could it have been? Your mind just goes all, so many different places. But my heart is just really going out today. And Elder McGee, I'm sorry, I do thank you again for that spoken word. Any other thoughts on that spoken word?
If you could read my book,
Wow.
he started off talking about the happy times as a little girl. That's how I start my story off.
And that's what I keep remembering about your story.
That I was so happy. And then one day it just turned, I was sad. And I don't mind sharing my age because I'm so grateful to God. I get excited about my birthday every year because I remember all of the times that I could have been dead.
Yes.
And I should have been out of here. And but I really just recently received my full healing, and I'm 46.
Right. Right.
And so I'm just I'm just so grateful to God. I mean, when I look back over, and that's why those of you that have been through things, or you have had some type of experience, there's somebody out here who needs you. If you've overcome it, somebody needs you. And so I'm like, if God brought me this far, how can I keep this to myself?
Mhm.
And I'm just now really experiencing joy in the last several years, but it was after I released all of this stuff up out of me. It was after that.
So this was after you tried to bring the evidence of what you thought, after talked about it with people or said, this is what happened to me. It was well after that you had lived your life a little bit.
Mhm.
And so it was well after that you didn't come into your
Yeah.
healing.
Because for a long time, it still followed me.
Mm.
It affected my first marriage.
Mm.
I didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to be in a real relationship. And because I had manipulated, okay, so you got to remember, I'm being introduced to sex at 10.
At 10.
I didn't offer myself up, it was taken from me.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, okay, this is what people do when they love you. So now I done turned, so my love was perverted. And twisted, that's what perverted means. And so now I'm seeking love through sex. I really don't want sex. I really want love.
Because that's what you're looking for.
But sex is what was introduced to me. Or let me say, I don't even know what you would call that. Some twisted, perverted situation but it was sex. It was oh my God, it was a violation.
Yes.
But anybody that's ever been there, it can been through this, it can go two ways. You could either become promiscuous, am I saying it right?
Mhm.
Like I did.
Yes.
Or you can go in a hole and hide and never come out. And you you just mute yourself. And I didn't totally mute myself because it was coming out in other ways. And that's what I'm talking about, the evidence. So that's where the fast comes in at. Well, she's fast. Well, something happened to her. I don't really want this. I really want love. And I'm seeking for love. So then it perpetuates itself. So I think it's normal. I think physical abuse is normal.
Wow.
And I think sexual abuse is normal. So when I get in my first real relationship at 17, or I think, or well, maybe no, it's before that, but that person didn't do anything to me. I got pregnant at 16 with my first child. But then I get in this other relationship and he's beating me.
Mm.
But I think this is he loves me. This is flattering. He's because this is what they say. Oh, he's doing that because he loves you. He wouldn't, or it's the other side. Well, you must have done something wrong for him to beat you. What did you say? What did you do? And so and how I got out of that situation is when it got to the point of if I can't have you, because I tried to leave several times, and I'm a teenager. We're never mind. High school together. I mean, if I can't have you, can't nobody have you. And he tried to make good. So that was my second time of me coming face to face with death. So the first time is when my sexual predator put the gun to my head at 14. The second time when I was in a relationship and I was being physically abused and he threw me in front of a car.
A moving car.
A moving car. And I got away after that. I got away from after, because I said, oh, he's serious. See, at first it was kind of cute because I didn't know no better. I was ignorant. And so it was like, oh, but I had been seeing abuse all my life. I had been seeing family members fight, get beat up. And so this is normal. People, this is love. You beat on each other or whatever. It's just, it was normal. And then, but when your life is at stake, you're like, wait, something's not right here, But then I got married at 19, but that didn't take away, because I'm still looking for love. I didn't even know who I was yet. I had lost the person that I was. And God, I'm going to tell you how God showed me who I was through my granddaughter, Gabrielle.
The beautiful little one I see.
And she's so friendly and so sweet and so loving. And God told me, he said, that was you before you were destroyed. Before you were jacked up and became this, he said, that was you. You were happy-go-lucky. You loved on everybody. And he had to literally take me back down memory lane, because I forgot who that person was. And I'm back there now. I'm laughing again.
Praise God.
I have joy again. I'm happy because I'm free. But that thing kept perpetuating itself, even after being married, because I still didn't know who I was. I was still seeking for something. And that person couldn't give it to me. He couldn't give it to me. It wasn't that he was a bad person, but he could not give me what I need. And I was young. I was young. Then even when I got saved, I ended up in situations in the church where men were coming on to me or feeling on or trying to they didn't care that I was married, trying to take advantage of me, or because when you've been, this is the thing, like I said about a manipulator, they're charming.
They know how to
do it. They're what you said in your post, clever.
Yes.
They have their way with words.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're somebody like me who may be insecure and that came from abuse, you'll accept any old thing. But when you learn who you are, you like, and even now, it's not even a trust issue now. It's just more of a guard your heart type of situation.
Okay.
Guard your space and have some boundaries, because there are some people out here, men and women, that do care about you. But when your trust has been violated, you're always like, wait a minute, hold up, you're too close. No.
Right.
And so God had to teach me how to love again.
Okay.
He had to teach me what real love was, and that there are people out here that do love and know how to love you right, and you don't have to be afraid. Now, but the good thing about somebody like me too, the flip side of that is I can smell it.
Oh.
I can feel it.
Wow.
Yeah, I can be in a room with a bunch of people, and somebody can walk in with it on them. The scent of a perpetrator.
Ooh, you can pick it up right away.
Or the scent of a victim. That's just how, I'm telling you, how ingrained it is in me. Like I've literally been out in the mall and somebody has walked past me. A man with a young girl, and I instantly picked up on it. And I would pray, because if there's nothing I can do, I can't confront him because I don't know him.
Right.
And I'm like, God, get her out, because I'm sensitive to it. I'm so sensitive because this is what I've experienced.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Oh, goodness. I see you guys on. Brandy, I thank you for watching. I think I saw Apostle Hunt on here. Demetrius says, I wish people would be as receptive to men who were violated as children. The double standard is not fair.
Mm-mm.
And they were enjoying the spoken word. Elder McGee, appreciate you. Let's see. Okay. I'm going down. Hey, Cousin Garner, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Your body's blossom was forced to bloom before it matured.
Come on. I love her.
She always.
I need to just have my own personal session with Demetri.
You do.
We got to get together, Demetri.
Right. When a blossom blooms naturally, the fragrance of real love is a different feeling altogether. Love it. Apostle Hunt did say minister. He's like, you're
hey,
doing
Apostle
it.
Cousin, love you.
And Elder McGee says here, you have become sensitive to those spirits. Yeah, obviously, and I mentioned back about sometimes why we go through different things. We don't know exactly why at that point, but you're here at this point now and stage in your life. Thank God for restoring that happiness that you once had. But I also thank God for making you sensitive to these
Hmm.
spirits, because you are able now to help from your perspective. So you're only one person. From your perspective, from your journey, from what you've experienced, you're able to help somebody now. And God works in different ways, but I'm glad he's taken that horrible situation
Hmm.
and has turned it around. With the meant for evil, God, can turn around for good. And that also shows to me the love that God has for Demetrius.
Yes.
He has so much love for you.
Isn't it beautiful?
He didn't leave you there, and you didn't turn into an abuser yourself. He's using your situation for his glory.
Hmm.
He is. He definitely is. Okay,
Now,
where else do you want to take us? What are you going to
my
say to that?
children probably say, because they called me back in the day,
Uh-huh.
because I was, like I said, I wanted to protect them so
Right.
that I had became this. I don't know what word to use, but they would call me crazy. Like, Ma, they said I would say some crazy things because, like,
You were on guard.
but and when you have to share your story with your children because they don't understand why you're the way that you are and why are you just so angry.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
and
goodness.
you and you getting on them about stuff, but they don't. And so one day I just had to sit them all down and like, listen, this is what happened to me.
Now you
You
have how
don't.
many?
I have 4 that I birthed,
Okay. All right.
and
Okay.
then 4. My husband has 4, so we have 8 all together.
All right. They didn't exceeded the Brady Bunch. Okay. And so when you were able to sit down with your children, maybe we can kind of angle that way. When you were able to sit down with your children, did you do it all at once? I mean, did you have them all sitting there at one time? Or you were able to tell one at
I
this
think
point,
I
the other at this
told
point?
3 at one time because my oldest son he wasn't living in Chicago at
Okay.
that time. And then I talked with him separately.
Okay.
But I remember my oldest daughter in particular, like, that explains the whole. I'm just saying, when you finally share something, she's like,
Wow.
that explains a whole lot. I never knew that, and like I said, it just brings perspective to the
Hmm.
whole entire situation and why you're the way that you are. And even when, even in writing my book, I went to my children. I'm like, I just want to let you all know I'm writing my book. How do you all feel about me coming out with my story? I mean, they know I've been talking about it, but this is a journey for all of us.
Yes.
And it affects all of us. It affected them when they were younger because I was a certain type of way back then, and I was be yelling all the time because I was angry. And my oldest, he really got it. And that's why I'm like, I could have been I could have turned into a certain type of person, is what I'm saying.
Hmm.
I was headed down that road. I've been beaten, so I'm gonna beat you too, and I was heading down that road, and it's like, no, you can't do this. You can't do this. You got to get some help. You got to get healed. You got to get set free. So yeah.
Wow.
And I just thank God for my children. They have been such a blessing, and my husband for being so supportive. They tell me that they're proud of me, and so I'm just grateful for them, and that and that from what I know, they've not had to experience this because, as I said before, it was going down.
And I was like, no, you're not going to go through this at all.
I was like, Lord, I don't want to go to jail. I really love you.
Right.
I don't want to go to jail, but I
Right.
will be an evangelist behind the jail cell.
Right.
I sure will.
Know, right. Yeah, they have their own revivals and stuff or whatever. What you were here for? Because somebody touched my child. But no, I mean, we're laughing, but yeah, I'm sure that's how a lot of parents are. You're
Yeah.
there; they will protect their children at any cost. But yeah, so what do you have here?
So I ran across this post
Okay.
on Facebook, and I shared it. The Black Race Apologist Bingo. And somebody shared it because they were talking about the R. Kelly situation. We're not talking about the R. Kelly situation, but I thought that it was some very good or some very interesting
right
points on here.
Okay, so it's like a bingo.
And I wanted
just
to
show you.
answer some of those questions for those that may be wondering.
Okay.
When it
Great.
comes to, like, so say for instance, this is some of the stuff that people were saying as it relates to R. Kelly, but I'm just, I'm going to put my perspective on it. So, because people are like, they're coming after him. They're coming as a black man, as a, and I have nothing against him or any, I've never really listened to his music.
Right.
The only song I know of his is "I Believe I Could Fly," and I think I've sang that maybe
I
twice.
think we're in the same boat because I don't listen to his music anyway. So.
And it wasn't because I knew that he was whatever that he's being accused of.
Right.
It's just I've never been interested in his music. Now, and I know he's written for other people whose music I probably like.
Right.
But with that going on, with that being said, this was some of the questions that were being put out there. What about the white rapists? I think that anybody that has done these things, they need to be held accountable. And that's what it's all about, accountability. But when I think about when you ask, and I'll put these two together, what about the white rapists and what about the Catholic Church? So they're talking about the priests that are doing these things to these children. I believe these people need to be held accountable. Absolutely, absolutely. But when you are, one thing we cannot do is just ignore what this person did and say, well, what about this person? And I have a scripture to back that up.
All right. And so not you're trying to tell them, don't, just throw it off by talking about
throw it off and start talking about somebody else. Which they need to be held accountable too. However, don't brush it off. Romans 14:12 says, so then every one of us shall give an account of himself to God.
Yes.
So when I go before God, I'm not going to be able to say, well, what about what Nette did?
Right.
Now, Nette could possibly be wrong. She probably did it, y'all. She most likely did it. But when I'm before God, I cannot bring Nette up.
That's right.
And trust, this is the thing about people being accountable. It may not happen when you think it ought to. It may not, but it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Something's going to happen because there's a law of sowing and reaping. There's a law.
That's true.
And I'm going to tell you, and the reason why I can say this is because of my own experience. I did not get restitution for me. But because it was not stopped for me, and it happened to my sister, my younger sister, unbeknownst to me, and she had evidence. She had very good evidence.
Wow.
He went to prison.
See?
So I didn't get it. But I did get it.
Right.
I didn't get it at the time.
You got it indirectly.
I got it indirectly. I didn't get it when I came forth, but I got it. And I think for most people, when it comes to the accountability, taking responsibility for your actions, that's all of us in any and everything that we do, and being liable. There is an appreciation you can have for a person that can actually admit that they did these things. But that's hard. That's hard for an individual to do. So that's the first thing. What we want to put well, what about this person? Yes, they need to be taken care of. And trust me, their day is coming. What's done will come into the light.
It's going to come out.
It's going to come out. Listen, I've done things in the dark in my day, and it has come out.
Yes. I have too.
And some stuff has been covered under the blood. Thank you, Jesus. Lord, don't bring that out.
Right.
But yeah, restitution. And then when you say they're in it for the money, let me just say from a victim standpoint.
You mean bringing this out? The victim is in it for the money.
Right. Okay. The victim is in it because all of this is, I feel like you're pointing the blame. You're making the victim at fault here.
Making the victim a victim twice.
Right. You're making someone else the fault or the blame here. And so the only reason why there's money involved in a lot of these situations, in certain situations, because you're talking about celebrities or politicians or whoever, these folks have money. But I just want to say for the little people,
Come on now. Talk
that's
up.
out here
That's right.
that don't have, it's not a money issue. There are people that are being violated. There's young girls and young boys that are being violated every day. And it has nothing to do with them trying to get some money.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you something, when it comes to money, there's no amount of money that can pay for the pain, the anguish, the suffering that I've endured. The healing came straight from God. There's not enough money you can give me to make that pain go away. So talking about somebody, restitution is what? It's recompense for injury or loss. When you're dealing with a situation where it's a emotional hurt or pain or a mental, somebody went through what I went through and they're locked up in some institution. They're not sitting out here talking.
Come on now.
They're somewhere locked up with a straitjacket on.
Yes.
They're somewhere up in a hospital bed, but they lost their mind. And so they've lost their mind. So there's no amount of money that can pay for this,
None.
for the healing that I have. There's no amount of restitution. God was my vindicator. And he made it good he made it good in the natural, but the healing that I got inwardly, nothing can be compared to that. Because you can get the money. Somebody can give me $2 million for my loss or my damages. But what about the internal damage?
That's not
the
going to help.
internal wounds. That wound that makes me not be able to love. That wound that makes me not trust. That you can't pay for that.
No.
That's priceless. You need an internal healing. Internal deliverance. You need your heart to be mended back together. You need all of those broken pieces to come back together again. The person that you were, the whole person you started out as, you're no longer that person. You're no longer, and you need healing.
Right.
And so you can't pay for healing. You cannot. You cannot pay for healing.
Deep. Okay.
And another question was, why did they wait so long to come out? I waited 4 years before I came out. There is no timeline on fear. See, and even when it comes to fear, to overcome fear, you have to face it. You have to face what is this fear that I have? And so in my case, it was, I'm gonna get killed. Somebody in my family is gonna get killed. I don't want this individual to get in trouble. Or they're gonna blame me and say it's my fault.
Right.
So there are several fears, that take root within you. And so you're looking at women, they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s,
some older,
just
right,
coming out saying that this person raped them or molested them or sexually violated them when they were 16, 17, 19, 20. And especially when you're dealing with someone that is prominent.
Yes.
That is in hierarchy. You're dealing with a priest or a pastor. You're dealing with a celebrity. How can you come off? How can you come out about it? It's an insult to the victim, because it goes back to getting an understanding. You have to almost put yourself in their position. Like, that's like telling and I've been in that position, physical abuse. Well, why you just won't leave? I don't understand. Why would you stay with someone that's beating you?
Right.
Let me tell you something about an abuser. They don't start off abusing you. When you first start dating an abuser, they're bringing you flowers. They're taking you out to dinner. They're complimenting you. They're telling you all of these wonderful things about you. They're treating you nice. They're doing all of these good things for you. Then after you fall in head over heels, they've gained your trust. Then the abuse comes. So when you get the first slap, you're in shock.
Yeah.
Number
You're
one.
like, wait, maybe that didn't happen.
Yeah. Maybe that didn't happen. You're in shock, number one. If
Right.
you're someone like me who's already, especially if you've already been abused, because you've been preyed upon. And it's almost like something on your forehead saying she's a good candidate for abuse.
Right. Right.
And so when you're come in contact with an abuser, whether male or female, because we know that there are some female abusers too, and Apostle Dion and Nette did a show on that as well on A&D. Though they're out here too.
Yes, they are.
But they don't start off as abusers.
No.
In the beginning, they know that they're an abuser, but they have to gain your trust.
Right. You're not gonna come out swinging.
Right.
Because who wants to
now
hit
I'm in love.
Right.
You slap me. I'm in shock. Okay, maybe he didn't mean it. Then he comes back with flowers and apologize, and you're like, okay, maybe Then it goes a little further and it gets a little deeper. And so this is why it's difficult to leave something that you think is love.
Right. And then from the outsider's point of view, it's easier for us to say, why don't you just leave? It's easy for us to say, well, if I was in that position, ain't no way anybody be hitting on me. But we don't know exactly what we would do in that situation. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to sit there and say, yeah, I'm just going to allow somebody to beat on me. No, nobody's going to say that. But if you're actually in that situation, you may act like so different that you didn't even realize that this would be your reaction. You know what I mean? You can say all day long, no, I'm not going to let anybody hit on me. But then, like you said, they've gained your trust. If they've done this and they've done that, and then they do whatever, maybe, and he comes back, oh, I was really tired. I normally don't act like that. Him or, male or female, like you said, it can happen on both ends. So it's not like you immediately think that that's what's going to happen, to you. So you think, okay, I'll give him another chance or whatever. It's not, that wasn't anything. And it continues on, like you said. But yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You want to say something else?
No, that's good, because these are good questions that you're giving out today.
And then there's several on here. Then it says, I can separate the art from the person. And that's true, because in a sense, it all depends on how you want to look at it. I think with that too, it goes back to the accountability to a person actually admitting that they did wrong. And I think people can respect that more if you actually say, you know what, I did do these things, and I would wish that you all would continue to listen to my music. I don't know, or whatever it is that I'm doing.
Right.
And I think about David in the Bible and how he did some things in the Bible.
Yes, he did.
And he was very gifted. He was anointed.
Right.
He was anointed by God. He was chosen by God. He had a heart after God. And I think that's the difference. Someone who has a heart after God and really want to be helped, opposed to someone saying, I did it, and if you can't prove it, oh well.
Right.
And see, you got those people out here that's like, well, you did prove it. They will never admit to it.
Right.
And so that's why it takes more and more people coming out. And the victim gets blamed in that, because they're like, well, why did now everybody want to come out? Well, now because they have the courage to come out.
Yes.
She came out. He came out. So now I have the courage to come out and say something too. And it takes courage.
It does.
It takes, like, you are having an internal battle. Should I say something? Should I say anything? Like, you don't know how it's going to go and what's going to be said. What is my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? Because you probably never mentioned it before until now.
Yeah. Right.
And everybody's like, and some people don't believe you. Like, you lying.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they will say too. Exactly what they would say. Let me hop back over here to Facebook. Yes, they are really commenting all day long. I appreciate you guys. I'm a childless mother that will sit my time out if anyone comes for any of my babies, my blood or love. You know, that's Demetria. It is a known fact that Kelly married a 15-year-old Aaliyah. So people that are on his back need to sit down. Okay.
I love her.
The Catholic priest took oaths, so make them a eunuch. And she also says here, the Massa has been doing it since the beginning of time. So it is another day at the office for them. And that's why it is so acceptable.
Yep.
That last part is very, that's deep. That's very true. Buddy says here, Demetrius, thank you for speaking on the length of time for a victim to report their story. Even I never took into the account the fear factor of the victims. We learn something new every day. And Buddy, thank you for saying that, because it is, especially looking, she was a victim, for her to tell it from her point of view, that you basically said there is no time limit. When people are asking why didn't they come out before or whatever. I mean, because they're like I'm sorry, you said there's no time limit on fear. And that's something to think about, because that's what's holding them back.
Yeah.
That's what's holding them back from actually saying something, from actually sharing it.
And then let's go back to the evidence, or let's go back to, if you remember in my case, I spoke up, but I got sent right back home.
You got sent right back home.
So I shut down after that. I didn't talk about it anymore until the last few years. I started coming out with it, because God was like, you have to deal with this. You have to, because what happens is, like I said, you have these internal battles, and you're wondering, like, what is this that keeps affecting me?
Okay.
In my relationships with people and just different situations in life, because that thing is still there. It's not that you haven't forgiven the person, but it's still something there that you need to release, in order to get your healing. But when someone doesn't believe you, if I confide in you, in that, I need to talk to you, such and such touched me, and then you come back with, why would you say that? You're lying. Why would I go? I don't know if you saw the video that's circulating of the girl, the daughter. She's recording her mother. She tells her mother, and she doesn't show her mother's face, but her mother's like in the kitchen sweeping. And she's recording she's doing a video, but she's, recording her mother, and she's telling her mother what her boyfriend is doing to her.
What the mother's boyfriend is doing to her.
What the mother's boyfriend is doing to her. And the mother goes in on her. It's on Facebook circulating. I wept. The mother, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're walking around here with the little booty shorts on or something like that. She said.
Wow.
And she's like, but Mom, that's your boyfriend. He comes in the middle of the night and touches me. What do you mean? What is he doing? But she blames it on her daughter. She doesn't confront him. She's like, I'm sick of you with this stuff. She cusses her out, calling her out of her name. I'm just like, it's terrible. So that's what I'm saying. What do you do when your own mother doesn't believe you? But this is the thing. I believe she believes her.
Yes, but she doesn't. Now, and I tell people this, listen to this real good. A lot of times, the things that are happening. And when they come to you with it, it's not necessarily a surprise. What's happening at that point in your mind is, if I say it, if I admit it, then I got to deal with it.
Yep.
And you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to, or you don't know how to. But it is at that point you definitely have to, you got to do something about it at that point. You can think all day long, yeah, this could be happening. Yeah, I think I may see some signs of this or whatever, but nope, throw it back in my mind. I'm not going to even touch it, not going to address it. When it's brought to you and the reality of it, when it sets in, then it's your responsibility at that point to do something about it. And you're right. I would agree that mother knew.
And if a child, whether a boy or a girl, can't trust that their parent will defend them, who could they trust? Could you tell your teacher? Could you tell an auntie or an uncle? Could you tell a cousin? Or will they too treat you the same way? So then you just shut back down.
Shut back down. Can I ask you this? You mentioned about, telling your story or whatever, or about the evidence. What what happened to those individuals that you told about at first? I know you mentioned going to the police station or whatever. First time they sent you back home. Second time they actually saw the evidence, sent you to the hospital. Those individuals that you knew personally that maybe you tried to tell what was happening to you. What happened when it finally came out that what you were saying was actually true? What were their thoughts? Were they regretting that they didn't listen to you? Um,
Well, regretting that, like in my situation, the person, they knew, they believed me, but was being abused, being physically abused herself.
okay.
So didn't know how to get out. And my mother, this is my mom, and my mother knows I'm sharing my story. I told her
Okay.
I mean, she knows, and she knows I'm writing my book and everything. And not too long ago, me and her, we had a talk, and it hurts her that she
Hmm.
didn't do anything.
Okay.
But how God dealt with me was that my mother didn't know how. That I'm telling you, that's how he had to release. He had to help me release her
There you
because I
go.
was angry with. Let me tell you something. I was angry with my whole family,
Right.
uncles, aunt, everybody. I
Some
was
that
angry.
didn't even have nothing to
My
do with
mama,
it.
because I'm like, no one came to my rescue. But then I found out later that there were some that tried to come to my rescue, but my mother kept taking up. She was trying to handle it in the
Yeah.
best way that she knew how. And we had a conversation not too long ago, and she said to me, I just wish I had made better decisions, and maybe you all wouldn't have turned out the way that you did. It really hurt her
Hmm.
that she didn't do anything. And I love my mother dearly. We
Yes.
have a great relationship. Because I've been healed now. And it's nothing she wouldn't do for me. It's nothing I wouldn't do for her. And like I said, I love her dearly. But God had to show me. But then she shared with me that she was molested.
See,
You see, it's
that
just a
continual
cycle.
cycle. And what you said, when it got to you, it stops.
Yeah. This
See,
is not going any further.
you just do
Not
not
on,
know.
not you close to me, and if any other person I can help. No, listen to me today. If you
Yes.
are listening to me and you are under the sound of my voice, it stops today. If you need some help, reach out to me. Reach out to me, inbox me, or however you want to do it. Just find me. Find me through a net because I want to
Yes.
help you. You do not have to suffer in silence any longer. You do not have to be where locking yourself up in your room, sitting in the dark, going through a depression. You can be free today. God wants to heal you. So if you want to talk or if you want to just release it, and maybe you've never told anybody and you just need to release it, reach
Yes.
out to me. I'm here for you. And we'll come up with the best plan uh, for your escape or whatever to get you out of the situation.
Beautiful. Thank you for saying that. Thank you
Mhm.
for saying that because I always want my shows to help individuals. The topics that we discuss, for there to be some kind of resolve, if you will, um, to let the people know you're not alone. You're not alone. And she's willing. She's willing to listen. She's willing to help you, from her standpoint and all that she's been through herself. So thank you again for that.
Mhm.
Comment here: fear is what made so many people crazy back in the day. We now finally address the issues with the formal diagnosis of the stress, calling it PTSD, which is only recently being viewed as a real issue. Angela, thank you for popping back in. We appreciate you. Some of you are coming in on your lunch hour when you can. Dimitri was talking about the video that you mentioned
What is she
earlier.
saying?
She says that trifling female doesn't want the shame of losing her man to her child.
Mhm. I love Demetria. I love you so much,
She keeps
Demetria.
it real.
We need to have our own little
She
lunch session for real.
keeps it real. She definitely does. And she mentioned earlier about herself, being abused as well.
Mhm.
Robert Jordan says, thank God for your restoration. Your courage, strength, and wisdom is powerful. So
Took
he's
a
thanking
minute.
you. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm
Thank you
I'm
so
quite
much.
sure. I'm quite sure. Let me ask you this, and I know we're going to be wrapping up. When you said that the Lord told you that you need to share your story, did you readily accept? Did you readily say, "Okay, I'll
Mm-mm.
share"? Or how long did it take you before you actually decided, okay, I really need to?
I mean, see, this is the thing. My relationship with God, I always want to please him. And if he asks me or tells me to do something, I
Mhm.
want to do it. I may be hesitant, but he knows I'm going to do it.
Right.
That's the thing. He knows I'm going to, but I have these little sessions with him, and I'm like, God, I'm having these little sessions like, I'm going to get a lot of backlash. I don't feel like, but I'll do it. I'm having these moments with him. I'll do it.
Right.
But what this is going, but as long as I know I have the support of the people that are involved. And that's it. Because when I first came on your show the first time, remember, I don't know if you remember, I got some backlash.
Okay. All right.
For coming out with my story.
Wow.
From some family members.
Mm-hmm.
And they started calling around.
I believe you told me that. I remember
stirring up problems. And I had to block them off my page. And it got back to my mom. And my mom and the person that they're like, that's her story. No one can take that from her. She can tell her story. That's her story. No one has the right to take that from me.
See?
And it's not about bashing someone or beating somebody up or pointing somebody out, because even in me writing it, I don't mention no names.
Right.
It's not about pointing somebody out. It's about I'm trying to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a part of my own healing that I'm releasing in this, and also ministering at the same time. So it's been a journey.
I'm sure.
And so when God told me that, like, you need to, yes, of course, you have those like, oh no, God, but you know how to do it. That's what I always, anytime he asks me, so I'm like, but I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Because you asked me to, and I want to please you.
Yes.
I want you, because then what happens, even with yourself, even with this whole thing, what you do, how you allow people to come in and share, that's a ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And you open up this platform for people.
Yes.
To share their experiences and perspectives and things of that such. So I'm sure one day it just hit you like, you need to do this. And I'm sure you may have had some hesitation.
Whoosh, and how? Yes.
But it's so needed.
It is.
And you are being such a blessing to so many people. But at the time when God first tell you something, we don't see the outcome. We don't know how it's going to end up. And so you're thinking like, you kind of, and then when God says to you, but it's not just about you. It's not just about you. There are people hurting, and you open up a way for someone else to get help.
Right.
And you're doing that weekly on both of your shows.
Praise God. Praise God. Oh, you hit it right on the head. I've told people this so many times when I first started my show. I mean, because you doubt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can hear from the Lord, when he's talking and what he's telling you to do. But every week for about a month straight, I was like, are you sure this is what you want me to do?
Mm-hmm.
I had to get Nette out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it wasn't about me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about me at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he kept reiterating to me that it was for me to do, I would always see these stories in the news about specifically pastors committing suicide.
Jesus.
It seemed like as soon as the show was over, you sure it's for me? And then I would see something and okay, I'll do it. And then I would keep, but that was just me doubting myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then so after a while I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. Please don't let any of this stuff happen. And, I'm thinking to myself, whatever. I mean, things have happened since then in the news that, are related to the show itself. But he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to have this platform so that individuals can talk about things that they normally don't talk about, that people will, they normally would dismiss, people and not really, no, I'm not going to listen to you or whatever. But I'm grateful for this platform.
Yeah. And God confirms it too.
Yes.
One day I was at a service minding my own business. Woman of God called me out. Pastor Prophet Katara Hull, to be exact. And she says, now she don't even know my story. First of
Wow.
all, she don't even know my story. And she said, I see you writing. I see an opportunity coming for you where you'll be able to write and share your story.
Mm.
She said, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I see you doing it.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is she talking about? I'm not about to write nothing. I don't even know how to write. I don't even what. And so, my mind is racing. 2 weeks later, I'm scrolling on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
and I run across Lady Trina Wells looking for 25 women to be a part of a book collaboration to share their stories of how they,
Wow.
overcame.
Wow.
And I reached out to her and she told me what I need to do. And she only needed a chapter from each person. And I
That
did
was the
it.
start.
But that was rough. I was like, God, is this it? Well, it was it. That was my starting point. Then God started dealing with me because I was going out singing a lot. He was like, every time you sing, I want you to share your testimony. I'm like, what?
I'm just trying
These
to say,
people
get out
don't
of
want to
it. I
hear
want to hear
that.
all that.
He's like, no, somebody needs to hear it. And I started doing that, sharing parts of my testimony as I'm ministering in song. So I wrote in the first book collaboration. Then I did that. Then she had another collaboration. Then she did a third. And then I was a part of the third one. I wasn't a part of the second one. And then the one I did on Let You Arise. And this is after I've regained my identity and I've learned who I am. So now I'm arising. And so then he says, after that, now you can write your own book. Now you can just put it on out there. And that has been challenging, writing my own book. I was doing well, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, you get to some parts and you're like,
you're
and I
reliving
took
it.
a whole month off.
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta wait a minute. And God is so amazing when you're telling your story, when you're actually writing it out verbatim. It's stuff he's allowing me to remember certain things just for the sake of somebody else.
Yes.
For someone else's healing and deliverance. So he's allowing me. One day I was on Facebook and I saw a video of a girl being right in the mall. Her mother wasn't paying attention. Look, she may have been about 5 or 6. Her mother wasn't paying attention. She was looking at something. And this guy, they got it all on video. He comes right up to the little girl, goes under her skirt and fondles her right there in the store. And I was like, why? I got sick to my stomach. I said, why did I have to see that? And God said, he reminded me, he said, because that something similar happened to you and you need to put that part in the book. You didn't put that in there. And I had to go back and put it in there.
Wow. See?
He said, you need to tell that part.
Wow.
Yeah. I hadn't put that. I said, God, I forgot all about that part. He's like, I need you to remember it just for the sake of someone else. Yeah. Just for, and it has been a difficult journey, but it's working together.
It is
for the good. It's coming together, and I don't want to be selfish.
Right.
I want somebody else to be helped.
Definitely. Well, this is beautiful. The Lord is doing it. I know we're wrapping up. Yeah.
I made it.
You made it. Bless your heart.
Hallelujah.
Now, tell us. Now, this book will be coming out.
Hopefully,
we're anticipating
by May.
By May.
It's almost done.
It's almost done.
Yep.
So you guys hold her up in prayer. Keep her before the Lord as she completes this next wonderful project that the Lord is blessing her to do to help somebody else. And we're going to have her back on the show when it comes out. And I'm excited for her. Again, she's not doing it for herself. It's so that she can help someone else, and she's heeding to what God is telling her to do. So make sure you keep her up before the Lord. Janetta, I see you on. Thank you for joining us. We're going to wrap up today, so you may have to rewind if you're just not joining. But thanks to you all, my listeners and the watchers on today for joining us, and your comments that kept coming through, and the hearts and the thumbs up on today. We appreciate each and every one of you. Where can they find you, Demetrius, before we get out of here?
Oh, I
They
am
can.
on Facebook
Okay.
under Kemetris Hunt. That's Kemetris Hunt. And you can find me also on
Instagram too.
Instagram under Kemetris Hunt. Y'all pray for me because I'm still trying to figure out Instagram. So y'all pray for me.
That's okay. She has
And then
young people in her family.
you
They can
can
help her.
also find me through my wonderful, beautiful sister in case you can't remember how to spell my name nor pronounce it.
That's right. That's right. So
I love you all.
yes, you guys keep your eyes on her. The Lord is doing great things in her life, and we appreciate you for coming on today and for sharing your story again. Again, you know, I always, every time you come, I get so emotional. Tears just
You
well up in my
do.
eyes when you come and you tell your story again and again. I love the transparency. I love how the Lord is blessing you to be able to share with every one of us. My heart just goes out. Just goes out. It just does.
Hey,
But again, I
that's
thank
a
you. I
good
love
thing.
you so much,
Thank
girl.
you so much for having me.
All right.
I appreciate you so much, and I love you so much.
Love you too. All right. We're going to get out of here, guys. We have, let's see, they're thanking you on here too.
You're welcome.
We have a next week. That'll be the fourth Wednesday. So Dr. Hill should be back on for Health Wellness Wednesday. She's been doing some great things too. So you guys make sure you follow Dr. Hill as well. The month of April is coming up. We're all booked up for Mind, Body, and Soul through May. So we got some great topics, great guests coming. So make sure you guys watch out for the promos. Go to my website, Get Caught in the Net Radio, and you should be able to see who we have coming up in the past shows as well. So thank you all. Thank you, Earl, for the time here. Thank you, Intellectual, for allowing Mind, Body, and Soul to be here. We're coming up on maybe like 3-4 years here. I don't know. Whatever it is, the Lord is blessing. So you guys stick with us, okay? So tune in next week and soar to get caught up with Annette.
Get caught in a net with